Straight.
We're back.
We're back.
Season 2.
Season 2.
Season 2.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm so glad everybody's back, and we're back.
We made
It was the longest week ever.
It was, but it was worth it.
But we have a best.
I'm
so excited I can't even talk.
A little tongue-tied there.
We have a very special guest for you guys this week, and the guest is...
Corey from the
Conjuring House. Want to bring him on? Let's have a conversation.
I think it's about time. We waited 2 weeks for this.
All right.
It's time. Hi.
Corey, what's going on, man? Nice to meet you.
Thank you for starting season 2 off for us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
We appreciate your time.
Oh, of course.
Just to let people know exactly who you are, introduce yourself a little bit for us.
My name's Corey Heinzen. I'm the former owner of the Conjuring House. We actually purchased the house back in June of 2019. We owned it for just about 3 years. We sold it last year to Jacqueline Nunez. And we're still involved with the house. We still help out 1 week out of the month, doing tours, investigations, the whole nine. So, I mean,
that's one question that I was going to ask. Now that you guys aren't owners, are you guys still letting people investigate the property?
Yes, Jacqueline. She basically she took the ball and ran with it.
Okay.
And,
so kind of just keep going with what you guys were doing.
Yeah. Except awesome. More on a grander scale.
Right. That's awesome.
What made you guys sell the house?
Actually, before that, I want to know what made you buy the house.
Yep.
Well, that's a silly question.
Well, we all know. We all know why you bought the house.
How did you get into buying the house?
By total accident. To be honest with you, it was just a random Facebook post at 4:00 in the morning that I came across.
Really?
And I can't remember the name of I think it was an ITC group I was a member of, and somebody said that they'd heard the owner was looking to sell. It wasn't on the market. I had some friends that lived down in that area that actually got me in contact with their realtor.
Right.
And the realtor said, yes, when she comes back from her trip, she was looking at putting it on the market. And we went down and actually met with her before we even met with the realtor.
Right.
And hashing stuff out. And she didn't want to put it on the market because she knew it would turn into like a huge thing.
Right.
So basically she was like, this is what I want for it. If you can do it, awesome. If not, I'll put it on the market. And that's what we ended up doing. So
awesome. Now, throughout the 3 years that you lived there, you said that when the first day that you moved in and got the keys, you got activity the very first day.
Yes.
What happened the first day?
I mean, I know because the previous owner, she left quite a few items. So obviously, we look through stuff, just trying to see what goes where and stuff. Right. But there were doors opening and closing, cabinets opening and closing. I know my daughter, she heard what she thought was a growl. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Right.
But just little things that, because your senses are heightened because you don't know what you're walking into because you watch the movie.
Right.
And unfortunately, like nothing else was there as far as, what the Warrens videotaped or what they witnessed. So it's like, oh God, worst case scenarios, who's going to get thrown first?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So did you guys watch the movie and then buy the house? or like how'd that
Buy the
work out?
house,
Did you buy the
inspire you
house
to
then the
watch the
movie
movie?
came out?
Oh, I mean, the movie came out in 2013, so we were
Okay.
huge fans of the movie. But
Right.
before we signed the paperwork, I remember sitting down and watching it with my parents, and my parents were just like, "Are you mental?
Are you
Like,
kidding
why
me?
would you want to do this?" And I'm like, "This is like the ultimate, like this is the ultimate investigation because it's never been done."
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at it from an investigator standpoint because it's like everybody that goes and investigates a place, it's like 2-3 days max. And, you know, what did you get out of it? And it's like, imagine being able to just immerse yourself in an investigation
Yep.
Yeah.
and seeing if the haunting revolves around the actual individuals themselves.
Right.
Or the house.
So
Yeah.
if nobody on here has seen the Conjuring House
It's
in real life, you're living under a rock.
yeah.
But if you have not seen it, this is what this beautiful cabin in Rhode Island looks like. It's just
It doesn't even look like that in the movies, though.
no. This is the actual house that the
Inspired
Perrin
the
family lived in, and the house was built in 1736, correct?
It was finished in 1736.
Okay.
It actually began principal building in 1680.
Oh wow. So did you know the Perrin family before you bought the house, or did you meet the Perrin family after buying the house?
I had met Roger and Andrea
Okay.
at Paracons,
Right.
but I didn't know them like personally.
Okay.
Just in, you know, passing by and stuff
Right.
like that.
Now, did you guys get closer after you purchased the house?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do
Had
they
to.
still have a big say, or not a say because obviously they don't own it anymore? But are they like interactive with the house still, or
Do they
I
come
know
and
a lot of
visit?
the family doesn't want anything to do with the house just because of the past.
They stay very active as far as like things that go on at the house.
Right.
I know Carolyn's the only one that she vehemently she will not come back. You
Right.
know, like she'll do a live stream, you know, FaceTime us and stuff like that, you know, talk us through stuff. But she's the only one that has never come back.
Wow.
All the rest of them have, except for April. Unfortunately, April passed away
Yeah.
a few years ago.
Right.
So we never got to meet her.
Right.
That's sad.
So if nobody knows the story of The Conjuring is so much different than the movie. Like
Yeah.
the actual story. I've heard that from multiple people. It's like literally like 2% of the movie is actual correct of what actually happened in the house.
If I'm not mistaken, Andrea says that Warner Brothers got about 40% of the movie correct.
Yeah.
When they were actually, when they were approached about making the movie, the Perrin family were approached. Andrea had her trilogy out, which was House of Darkness, House of Light, her
Right.
book. She sent that into Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers looked over it and they sent it back, and they're like, "We can't get this in the theaters. It's that scary."
Yeah.
Which I think would have made an even better movie, but
We have a couple questions for you, actually.
Oh, yeah.
First one from my cousin
Oh,
Harlan.
yeah.
Says, when you bought the house, did you also have the cave with it, or was that a separate purchase?
Cave?
Cave? Go back and look at the pictures. I don't know what she's talking
I
about.
don't know.
But then,
I don't know. I know there's a well.
yeah, is that what you're talking about? The well?
I don't know. We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. We'll go look at the pictures
So
again.
did you have any new evidence after opening the ceiling?
When we opened it, we caught some evidence as far as placing some trigger objects up inside, up in the rafters.
Right.
It didn't increase activity like anywhere in the house.
No.
which we thought for sure it would have, especially with the way like the REM pod was going off.
Right.
But didn't do nothing.
Now, so when you and it was just you, your wife, and your daughter living in the house, correct?
Actually, no, it was originally supposed to be me, Jen, and my son Kyler,
Okay.
but he ended up having something happen to him where he didn't feel safe staying in the house.
Got you.
And he ended up moving back home and living in our house back up in Maine.
Got you. So this is you and your wife in the library. Is this when you guys first bought it, or is this just like a random picture? Or
this was a random picture. I think the Boston Globe came and did a story on the house.
Okay.
So.
Got ya. Now, the picture that I really want to show, we did. If you watched the last episode with Candace from Keeping It Real, she was in this. Well, not in this picture, but she was with the infamous Annabelle doll, and you were too. So, was this in the occult museum in the Ed and Lorraine Warren's property?
Yeah, we were lucky enough to be invited by NESPAR to actually investigate. They did a live stream to push their Warren's Paracon. That was the first of the Paracon, but we did a live stream from the Occult Museum. And creepy place.
Oh, yeah. I exploring with Josh and Seth Borden, we just watched a video of them investigating it. I would be honored to be there in a heartbeat. We would. Oh man,
I don't think I could get him to leave if we did.
I would be there.
We have another comment.
Oh, we have another comment.
Sorry, we try to interact with our comments just to.
Oh no, it's quite all right.
Might have been the well. Sorry, where Bathsheba was beside the Conjuring House. I know Bathsheba is buried in a local cemetery in Rhode Island, like in your town, but she's not buried on the property, right? No. Okay.
Yeah, like we were saying, nothing is exactly like the movies.
Yeah, that's
so everything you know about the movies, just forget it.
If you haven't seen the movie, it's actually better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you moved in, you said there was certain stuff that people left that was previous owners. You said you found a piece of furniture that a child wrote down for the crooked neck lady.
Yeah, he found a piece of paper in the attic. Or was it in the attic?
No, it was a box. It seemed like it was a toy box, but it was down in the basement in the well room.
Right.
And on the inside, there was a bunch of drawings, like kids were just inside just drawing and stuff. But there were numerous pictures, and it looked like they came from different kids because they didn't look all the same, but they all looked like a bent neck individual.
Right.
We say a bent neck lady because it looked like she was wearing a dress. So
you don't like, I know Andrea said that the parent mother like had Bathsheba or the crooked neck lady next to her or anything. You guys don't have any proof, or did anything like that ever happened in the house while you were there? Or
we did have a team from Rhode Island actually capture some phenomenal evidence on an SLS camera, structured light sensing camera. You know, the thing with that, a lot of people are hit and miss with it. They're like, it can be this and it can be that. Typically, when people film with an SLS camera, they'll capture something for like 10 seconds and then it's gone. They captured this thing, like, I think it was for 4 minutes. Wow. And it was a bent neck thing. Yeah. And it was interacting with the investigators. It's like, can you wave? And it was waving. It's like, can you lift your head up? And you watch it literally like trying to push its head up. And it's like, I mean, it's pretty cool if you look at it for validation, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, you know, because there's no science to what we do. It's everything's based on theory, and
Right.
but I mean, it's a cool piece of evidence.
Yeah.
So
Now, is that? Do you think that would be like somebody? The story's been going on for so long that it kind of manifests itself into being a being. Well, not being like a human being, but like a entity. Because I know if you tell a story for so long that something can manifest itself from that story. Do you think that's the what that could be, or?
see, I've only been as far as that. I've only been told that they can manifest names and stuff like that when it comes to voices and stuff like that. They can mimic, and you know, we call them tricksters because, like, obviously everybody comes into the house and they ask for Bathsheba,
Right.
and they'll get the name. You know, they'll wake up in the morning, you know, because we go in and we talk to them in the morning after their investigation, and like, oh, listen to this, Bathsheba, and it's like it's a guy's voice. I don't think it was Bathsheba guy, but you know,
unless Bathsheba had a really deep voice.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know when the Perrin family lived there, the whole Ed and Lorraine Warren type thing going. The whole reason why the Conjuring movie is because Ed and Lorraine Warren, it's off their files. They did a seance in the room, and from what I heard with Andrea, said that they kind of made it worse.
Yeah.
They did. It got out of hand, and whatever was there, instead of attaching itself to the other psychic that was there was another psychic that was there. She was the one that was actually supposed to conduct the seance, and then Ed and Lorraine were basically just going to, you know, steer it. Record it, steer it as far as asking questions and stuff. And apparently whatever was supposed to attach to her, it attached to her for a few seconds, and then it jumped to Carolyn, and that's when it all went haywire. And almost killed her.
Now, one of the daughters actually did get thrown across the room, correct? That's one part of the movie that's correct?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was Carolyn. Carolyn got thrown across.
Okay. So everything was more focused on the mother than the kids. Well, I know Cindy got a lot of it too.
Yeah, Cindy got quite a bit of it, but a lot of it was generated towards Carolyn, and they think a lot of that had to do. Roger had feelings for this spirit, this entity, whatever it was that was in the basement.
Right.
You know, and there was one time, to hear him talk about it, you could tell he had feelings. He was sitting at the dining room table, and this thing was coming up out of the basement, and it opened the door, and it was just kind of like floating. It was just
wow.
And anyways, it was there for like a half hour, and Roger was getting so like worked up over it. And he's like, look, either come in here and sit down and talk to me, or just get the hell out of here. And it retreated back down to the basement and slammed the door, and it was gone for like, I think 6 months. And Roger was like heartbroken over it.
Wow.
So
if nobody has seen, they show the original family in the credits of The Conjuring, but this is the Perrin family. This is the original, well, not the original owners, but this is the family that's based off the movie.
Yeah.
So these are all the kids. The middle one of the kids, that's Andrea,
and then
I can't remember. I'm not gonna say that I know all of the names.
Nancy, Cindy, Carolyn.
Nancy, you got Andrea, Nancy, Christine, April, and Cindy.
Got ya. And these are all the girls right here with Cindy. Now, did you ever get to meet Lorraine Warren through like conventions or?
Unfortunately, I never got to meet Lorraine. She
No.
passed away 3 months prior to us buying the house.
Oh wow. Okay. So this is funny because you have a picture of the Annabelles. When I was going through the pictures trying to find pictures for the stream here, I realized that you guys have Raggedy Ann dolls everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of people bring them and drop them off.
Do they? Okay, that's awesome.
That
I didn't
explains
know
a
if
lot.
that was like a, because everybody's like, oh yeah, it's a creepy porcelain doll that's
No.
Annabelle because that's the new cool thing because of the movie.
Yeah.
But people don't know that it's a Raggedy Ann doll.
Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
And this is I found a couple of them, but this one was pretty much my favorite. You guys have one in a old clock.
Yep.
So you guys just kind of just hang out everywhere, or when they drop them off, like here, that's a cool spot, or
Yeah,
Do you ever-
basically.
yeah.
Do you ever see them moving?
Thank God, no.
No. All right. So this room right here, this is the seance room where the Ed and Lorraine Warren did the seance.
Yes.
Do you guys get a lot of activity in this room, or?
Typically, the stuff that we get in that room, if you look up to your top right, that doorway,
Right.
that leads into the oldest part of the house.
Uh-huh.
If we put things in there and sit in the seance room, usually stuff will be set off there because it's like they don't like coming out into that main area for some reason.
Okay. Was that because of the seance or the energy that they put into that room, or?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I've just never had a lot of luck in that particular room. I know some teams just, that's their whole night. Like they just spend their whole night there and they get like EVPs and, awesome spirit box sessions. So
We have a question
I have
for
a
you.
question for you.
Do y'all think we, as visitors and investigators, have kind of made it more haunted like in Egregore, or do y'all think the house is more like a portal?
I think, to be honest, I think it's more of a portal. Spirits or energy, they can be anywhere they want to go. So, I mean, depending on who comes into the house, they could bring something with them. Whether it decides to stay or not, that's a whole nother thing. That's why, like what we were talking about earlier, we don't do seances unless we have the proper personnel on hand.
Right.
We don't allow teams to just go in there and do that kind of stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of stipulations on what we allow to go on in that house. Because it's like there are good spirits there that have lived there from the past, and they got an awesome story to tell, and it's we want to get that story out there and say these are real people that lived here. So it's like
now when the parent family lived there, they would say that they would smell like phantom smells, like a rotting flesh or anything. Do you guys get the phantom smells when you were there, or?
I personally never got it.
No random smells that shouldn't be there.
Nope.
So we have one more question for you. Do the same books tend to be thrown
off the library shelf?
So we had that happen on 2 occasions. The name of the book was Theory of Relativity.
Mm-hmm.
It got thrown off on 2 different occasions, and what was neat, after we reviewed it a few times, we realized that it was thrown off at 12:58 p.m. and then it was thrown off at 12:58 a.m. on different days.
Wow.
So everybody was like trying to like make sense of it. They're like, go to page 1258. I'm like, there's only like 200 pages.
Yeah.
It's like, and then everybody's like, oh, did you read it? I'm like, dude, I went to high school. I'm not gonna make, honestly, and people laugh, and it's like, if I know I'm not gonna be able to comprehend the book, let alone regurgitate and make
Yeah.
sense of it to
Yeah.
somebody, I'm not gonna do it.
No,
I'm not gonna
I'm
fake the
exactly
funk.
the same way.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, the book came off the shelf. It's cool.
Yeah, pretty much. That's awesome. So when you guys moved in and you guys are living there, doing your normal day to day, you guys said that you guys see shadow figures.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate a little bit? Elaborate. High school.
It's all right, man. It's all good. No, the shadow figures, like I was saying, during the day, they're all around us. People just don't realize it, especially during the day, because you're going on your day to day, your daily routine and stuff like that. At night, they're not as prevalent because there's dark corners and stuff like that. But during the daytime, where we were focusing solely on investigating, we're able to see a lot of them. As far as capturing on camera, though, that's where we had a really hard time, because they move very, very fast, but they're there. They're not bugging anybody. They're just inquisitive, like what we were talking about earlier with what me and Jen saw that one night. They just sat there and stared at us, and it's like, okay, it's like, I'm not freaking out. It's a shadow figure, and he's looking at us. It's cool.
So what did you feel during that? Like, like I said, that when we were talking, I lived in a house that had black shadows, and I always had an uneasy feeling around this one shadow. Do you have different energy? Do you feel different energy to different shadow figures, or?
The only time I had a weird feeling was one of the, like, I think it was like within the first month that we were living there. We had it was like a black smoke. It had no figure, like nothing to it, and it looked like it was a fire. I thought there was a fire in the house.
Wow.
And because it was coming up the corner of the room, and the way it looked, how heat rises off blacktop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That real
wavy thing.
Mirage type of image.
So it looked like that, and you just see this. It looked like smoke, but all of a sudden it just stopped midway up to the ceiling, and it just kind of like gathered, and then it just made its way across the room. So it was me and my buddy Bill, and we're laying there in cots, and it comes right above me, and I'm like, what the, like, I didn't know what to say, because I've never seen something like this before. I didn't feel threatened, but at the same time, it's like, I'm definitely not used to this.
Yeah.
And I kept more like Bill, don't leave me. And it ended up moving over towards him, and as it did, it just basically went up into the ceiling. I mean, it was really neat. But that was really the only time that I questioned it, because it didn't really ever happen.
Yeah, it's something you don't see every day.
It just makes you pause, think, what did I just see?
Wow.
Exactly.
So you guys say that you guys have activity up top, want to move down to the basement. Do you guys have a lot of, from the video that we watched last night, Jen said that you guys don't have a lot of activity down in the bottom in the basement, or is it more up top than the bottom? Or
we don't spend it. Our daughter does. Maddie, when she comes down to investigate, she spends a lot of time in the basement, and she gets phenomenal spirit box sessions, EVP sessions. But as far as us, like, we'll just set up trigger objects and stuff like that, and just sit there in the dark and kind of just use our senses. We might get something here and there, but teams tend to get a lot of stuff down there, because it's a spooky basement. people like spooky basements.
Right.
You know, so they spend a lot of their time down there. Plus, it's nice and cool. You don't have to worry about the heat of the summer. So
Yeah, definitely. Now, does the basement run the whole house?
yes.
So you got this hallway right here, and then you have 2 rooms off to the right. So the first one's a well room, correct?
Yes.
And that's where you found the little thing with the box with the crooked neck lady in.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I put this one on just for the creepy effect for people. Dark basement. Yay. If you're an investigator, everybody loves a dark basement.
Oh, yeah.
But so this is the very last room, correct? And a lot of the investigators hang out in this area. So is this a dominant place to get activity down in the basement, or is it the whole basement?
Well, see, now that's the well room.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay, you can actually see it where the mirror is. There's a well right underneath it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice that.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, do you guys get a lot of the stuff in the well room or in other rooms, or?
Sometimes we'll get good spirit box sessions and stuff like that. Typically what people do is they'll do an Estes method, looking at that mirror.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're doing the Estes method and mirror shining at the same time.
Yeah, they'll do the mirror scrying and
wow.
They'll lose their crap and run out. It's pretty funny.
I refuse to do anything with mirrors.
That's our go-to is the Estes method. We love it.
Yeah.
We take turns going under.
Yeah.
So you sent us a couple videos that we can get to here. But before we do that, I have an ad to play before we get any further.
Is it the one for the Gilcrest?
It's not that one yet.
Not yet.
It's this one.
What the fuck is up? My name is Jacob Sin. You can get your Tampa Sin shirt today. All you have to do is go to jacobsin.com. That's right, jacobsin.com. We have them in large, extra large, and double extra large. jacobsin.com. Get yours today.
I told you I would play it for you, Jacob.
That's our buddy Jacob.
He's like, cool, you guys do a podcast. Cool, throw my ad in there.
Yeah.
All right, buddy, I got you.
That's our friend out in St. Pete. He's going to be at the Gilcrest Fair Unity.
So I want to play this first video. Now, is this... they see an apparition in the corner down in the basement. Is this just a random team investigating? Were you involved in this, or?
No, just a random team. The one thing we decided to do, actually, after we investigated with one team, there were some YouTubers. It was actually Exploring with Josh. Okay. He got a lot of flack because he wasn't getting anything when he investigated on his own with Seth. Once we showed up, started investigating, they were getting all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And people were like, oh, well, of course, because the owner's there and this and that. So we hang back, and it's like, everything they get is on them.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason for us to be there.
Right.
So
now, is that more of like, I feel like the owners being there or like telling the spirits, hey, these are investigators, they're just here to talk to you guys.
It helps a lot.
It helps a lot more than investigating with just any random stranger comes into a house. They're going to be like, what are you doing in my house?
Well, because you're the person that they know.
Yeah. And
their usual resident. Of course, there's going to be strangers coming in. And you want to give them a heads up because that's their space as well.
I totally agree. We do give a tour at the beginning, and we do tell the spirits, it's like, hey, these are good people, please, they're going to treat you as you'd want to be treated,
Right.
If you could just, give them some respect in return. They're not going to treat you guys like a circus sideshow
Right.
or anything like that. They're not going to be rude or anything, and as long as, and we do watch the teams on our DVR.
Do you?
And oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And if we see anything like even remotely bad,
Yeah.
out the door they'll go,
Yeah.
and luckily nobody's been disrespectful. I mean, we've had some YouTubers that have kind of pushed the envelope,
Right.
but
I mean,
it is.
in all fairness, they were warned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we could play this video for you, and we'll talk about it after the video.
These next sequence of events are just bizarre. If you look off to the left, there's a little side room. It looks like someone's peeking at us. And then it happens again. This time it's way creepier. This might be the craziest thing I've ever caught. And what's weird about this is that Manny on the ground, he looks over there. And then Manny Sr. goes over to look at the wall. Little did they know.
That's my. Cool. Technical difficulties. My bad.
We're on a laptop when we're usually on a desktop.
So do you guys see that white figure a lot, or is that what you're talking about with the shadow? It's like not more humanoid. It's more of a just a white figure.
Exactly. Except now, I think there's a theory out there that whatever you're dealing with when it comes to ghosts, paranormal things like that,
Right.
they can see IR light. They can see infrared.
Right.
And so they know where it's pointing. They know to stay away from it. I think that one got surprised because they were using full spectrum.
Oh.
And so it poked its head out. And as soon as it poked its head out, it realized that it was on camera, and that's why it went back real quick.
Wow.
But if you notice how the fluid movement of it, that's exactly what me and my wife saw.
And then comes back
Yeah,
out.
that's not more of a. It was like it just floated away.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So,
These next sequence of events are just bizarre. If you look off to the left, there's a little side room. It looks like someone's peeking at us.
Come on, there we go. What are you doing? All right, we're good. We're good, right? Yeah. All right.
Yep.
I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's never done that. It's the Conjuring. It's us talking about this.
It happens.
We've had technical difficulties with a couple people who have actually owned a haunted location.
Yeah, we did
our friend Henry. We had problems with him, like the most problems ever possible that we could have. We've had problems with him.
So every time we start talking about all this stuff, we always have a technical issue. That's what we love about Underworld. You never know what's going to happen on lives. And I really appreciate everybody coming and hanging out.
Thank you to everyone who's coming and seeing this. We do have some more stuff to show before we're over, though.
Now that we have viewers and everything, we would like to mention stars. You can donate stars to while we're live here. If you want to donate to Underworld Ministry, everything that you guys donate, it goes back to Underworld. It goes to investigations. It goes to everything.
Equipment, it goes to gas. It goes. Right now, it's going to us getting to Gilchrist in October.
Yes. Which we will talk about soon, people. we will talk about soon. Now let's get to this next video. So this is down in the basement again. Is this off somebody else's footage, or is this off your DVR, or the football?
This is off our DVR.
Okay. All right. Check this out. This one's really cool.
Bill is one of the investigators, and this is the basement downstairs.
Okay, so if there's any spirits down here, I'd love for you to knock this football over for me.
And he's hearing some strange noises down there that's not supposed to be down there, so he put up a trigger to see. That's crazy. Oh, what was that in the back? Oh, fucking shit! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh!
That have the
That's
sound
amazing. I didn't see that.
Oh yeah,
I
didn't see that.
I didn't show her any videos, so she would be surprised with everybody else. So was that you guys just doing your own little investigation, or
Just like a
that
camera
was-
set up in the
that was actually we did a week-long live stream with
Oh,
the Dark
okay.
Zone, and that was actually because the viewers were actually reviewing evidence or watching live, and they could go back and look on the cameras and stuff, and
right?
that was actually sent in to us by one of the viewers. That was her reacting to it.
Wow.
That's why
awesome.
she was recording with her cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So this is part of the live stream. So this is in the seance room, correct?
Yes.
So this is, was this like your DVR system that you set up live and you have cameras all over the house, or?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how were you in the property while this, like the live stream was going on, kind of living a day to day, or?
Yeah, it was Big Brother.
Okay.
So like 24/7 for a week straight. It was just as COVID hit, and
Okay.
everybody was like, we
Okay.
had nothing to do, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got approached to do it, and we did it, and like everybody loved it. So
That's awesome.
You should-
That's actually how Underworld Ministry happened during COVID,
Yeah.
because I had nothing to do. And
I
now
was
we're
sick.
here talking to you.
I was sick during COVID.
So we have another question. Oh,
Oh, it's not a question. It's a comment.
it's a comment. I was not expecting that. I'm sure none of us, and even Corey here, was expecting that one. But we have one more video, and then we're gonna get to. Actually, I do want to ask you another thing. We talked about this a little bit. You guys see random flashes around the house. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or?
yeah, the flashes of light that we see, like I've never seen it anywhere besides Chad Kalick. Chad Kalick did a documentary called Sir No Face,
Okay.
and he recorded it. And but what it is, it's like giant flashes of light, like immense and bright, real quick, and
Right.
they're all over the place. Like it'll be on the wall, be on the bed, be in the doorway. No rhyme or reason. And we've caught it for like 3 seconds. We've caught it for 12 hours straight.
Wow.
and nobody could tell us what it was. Well, we ended up, when we filmed the Sleepless Unrest during COVID,
Right.
the people we filmed with were actually people from the Ghost Hunters reboot, and they brought up all this cool, sexy equipment that we could never afford.
Right.
And they had this $40,000 camera that actually, it slows down frame rates and it films down to the molecular level or something. Like I said, high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they ended up capturing this phenomenon. And when they had it analyzed, if I'm not mistaken, they said what they had captured were protons colliding. And they just had a hard time believing that, because you're talking about atomic energy release.
Right.
When protons collide, and that
Right.
in order to have that happen, it has to be in a colliding, like it has to be in a containment
Closed
unit.
space. Yeah.
But this is happening all throughout the house.
Wow.
So it's like, now they wouldn't go on record to tell us, because they didn't want to be ridiculed.
Right.
And it's like, but the video, the proof's in the pudding, it's right there.
Right.
And they're like, sorry, we're not going to go on video to say this, because that's our, it's
that's our reputation. Yeah.
Our reps on the line, and it's
Right.
like, okay, I understand that, but we're not going to get anywhere, if nobody puts their neck on the chopping block.
Right.
Because but it's fascinating. That's why it wasn't included in the video, unfortunately. But it's Now,
do you guys, when you get these lights, do you get other things happening when the lights go off, or?
The only thing that happens is once it's done, there's a smell of the best word I can explain. It smells like ozone. Like if you were to run like an air purifier, that's what it smells like. So it's like taking all this ions out of the air or something. I don't know. But that's the closest thing I can explain, is like you can tell something happened because it smells like that.
So it's kind of like when it's about to rain.
Mm.
You get that smell that it's about to rain.
Smell. Yeah.
Wow.
Same thing.
Now, do you guys hear voices? Do you guys stuff try to talk to you while you're in the property, or?
Yeah, we've had that happen quite a few times. And the weird thing is like we'd be standing in a circle talking amongst ourselves, and something will talk in your ear, and usually it's always, I don't know why, it's always the word hey.
Wow.
That's it. And you'll hear it in your ear, and I'll look over at Jen and I'm like, please tell me you heard that. And she'll be like, nope.
Yeah.
The only ones that catch it when it happens are the dogs. The dogs will be walking through the house and something will be like, hey. And I just stop and the dogs stop. And I'm like, okay, I know I heard it.
Yeah.
The dogs heard it because the dogs are like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah. Like you heard that too, right? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Hey, human, did you hear that?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Here's a video for that.
If anybody watches Investigators on YouTube, you guys had Exploring with Josh and Seth Borden investigate this property. You have a clip that you sent us during their investigation. You guys were there giving the tour for Josh and Seth, correct? That was around the time when you owned the house?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And what was their crazy? I want to know what we watched it, but I want to know from like their voice to you, what was their crazy experience when they were there, that if you can recollect.
Josh and Seth, I would probably say when Seth was down in the basement, like it was kind of like everybody was daring him to go downstairs, because when we were all standing together down in the basement, he got grabbed.
Right.
And it made him, you could tell it made him very uncomfortable because, it was all new to him and Josh. So, Seth, we went back upstairs and we were talking about it. And basically Josh was calling him a sissy go
Right.
downstairs and see how long you can do it for. And
That's rude.
Seth went back downstairs, and literally he was down there maybe 20 seconds, and he was right back upstairs. He's like, nope. He's like, it did it again. And there's a spirit down there that does like males. I'm guessing it's the female entity that liked Roger.
Right.
But she's always usually messing with guys, rubbing their backs, pulling their hair,
Right.
stuff like that. But she's also done that to girls, but usually it's always the males that it happens to. So,
have you had that happen while you're in the basement? Did she interact with you more than Jen, or?
I've had, I'm guessing it was her, but we did a live stream on Halloween, and I had something give me a monkey bite on my thigh, and
wow,
my butthole puckered.
Yeah, oh, I bet.
And I stood up, and I could hear everybody laughing up in the control room, and I'm like, I cannot run on my own basement. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
So I sat back down, and I'm just like, hey, look, it's all good. I'm like, if you want to communicate, that's fine. It didn't hurt. It really caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Yes. And it just out of nowhere. And it's like, sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
But, and it was just, I'm humble. Like, I look back on it now, and I'm humbled because it's like, you had an interaction with something. Yeah, exactly. It's an interaction that, unless it's ever happened to you, words can't describe it.
Yeah. It's one thing I love about investigating and dealing with the paranormal. Like, you remember everything that ever happens to you. Like, even no matter everybody has their favorite experience. What is your favorite, like, memorable experience when you lived in that house?
Probably the UFOs.
Wow.
Outside. We've had UFOs outside. I know.
Is that you just hanging out outside around the fire and look up and see them, or?
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, if you go on the MUFON website, like, just all around that area, it's like a hotbed.
So is it just that town, or is it Rhode Island, or
Rhode Island?
Yeah,
Rhode Island in general. But
wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll send you the clip.
Oh, absolutely! I want to see that. Now,
see, I didn't send you that clip because that's really going down a whole nother rabbit hole.
Oh yeah,
maybe another time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Now, when you said that there was that spirit that was just standing there staring at you and Jen, we were talking, and you guys said you were comparing pictures, and you said it looked like a gray more than a shadow.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, if you go down that rabbit hole that I was just talking about, like, there's a lot of similarities, and people are saying that the paranormal field needs to start working with UFOs people because, like, there's a lot of, they coincide a lot. Right. So shadow figures and grays, and there's a documentary I always push people to watch. It's called The Nightmare, and it's about sleep paralysis, but they also go into the whole hierarchy of shadow people and stuff like that. Awesome. And it explains quite a lot. I mean, granted, everything is theory, but it makes sense when you watch it. So
that's awesome. Now, with this video that I'm about to show right now, do you guys have a lot of orbs that you see around the house when you were there? I don't know if you guys believe in orbs. Orbs are iffy between investigators.
Yeah, some people believe in them, some people don't. I do.
We just wanted to see your intake before we play this video.
I believe if you show me video, usually, like, I can kind of give you like my personal opinion on them.
Right.
I believe the genuine ones you want to look for are the ones that have an aura around them,
Right.
like
Right.
the color,
Yeah.
just like a person would have a color.
Right.
Those are the ones that or they have a certain flight pattern. But I just think a lot of people take pictures, and I don't understand why people take pictures, because a picture only gives you one page out of a 100-page book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like today's day and age, you can take a video and then go frame by frame and take your pictures out of that.
Right.
So I can tell you what happens leading up to the event and what happens during the event and after the event. So why not do that? And then there's no fudge factor whatsoever. Like we
Right.
know what we're looking at as far
Right.
as what happened.
Well, that's one of the main rules in photography during
Take three.
photography
Photography.
and the paranormal is take everything by threes for that very reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be right back. I gotta run to the
Okay. Sarah will be right back.
I'm leaving Chris alone.
Now, I didn't know she was leaving, guys. Threw me all off. So when you guys were living there and everything, the video that we watched yesterday to do our little bit of research to talk about, you guys, Jen was saying you guys have walking. You can hear walking upstairs and like Cindy's room to Andrea's, or
Sometimes like it's, there's no doubt like there's something walking up there,
yeah,
especially when it's just like, if it's just me and Jen in the house, the dogs are in like the staff room or something like that.
Right.
It's like everybody's like, oh, it's a house settling. Dude, this house is over 300 years old. I'm pretty sure it's settled by now.
yeah.
You know, there's no doubt. I mean, you just walk up there. You know, if you have somebody walk up there, you know what it sounds like,
Right.
and you hear that.
Right.
So it's
you
like,
hear the cracking of the floor.
Yep.
Right. So do you, when you guys lived in the house, which room did you, not trying to get personal or anything, but which room did you guys stay in? Did you stay in Cindy's room or Andrea's, or?
When we first moved in, we stayed actually in the first two rooms, as far as down on the far end, the staff quarters,
Okay.
and then the merchandise room, because we stayed there for 4 months and let the spirits get used to us instead of just barging in. But once we moved in, we bounced back and forth between bedrooms just to see activity level. But then we settled into Nancy and Christine's room.
Okay.
Because the window, like, it had dual windows,
Got
you know,
it.
summertime and stuff like that.
Right. Now, which room did you get more activity when you were switching rooms?
Middle bedroom. And that was Cindy and April's.
Okay. Now, what happened? And I know from the video that I watched yesterday, that's where you got a lot of the flashes during that video.
Yeah.
What kind of activity did you get in that room compared to the other ones?
We would have things pulling on the sheets.
Well,
I mean, the flashes of light. The one video, like, they have that black object come up and hit the microphone. But voices. Another thing that we, like, the shadows that you would see, like, I would tell people, if you lay in bed at like I go totally dark when it comes to investigating. Right. I can't stand using white light. Like, I might use a red light.
Right.
But
we use green lights. I feel like you can see more shadow than a white light. And like I said, like you said, red or green or.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But there's something when you start using your senses and stuff, and you start getting that feeling like you're being watched and hearing the back of your neck starts sticking up. Like, if you just stare laying in that bed, like, it's like they're coming in. It's like you're falling asleep, but you're not falling asleep. You know you're wide awake, but you start to get tunnel vision, and it's like, and then you reach out and you lose your hand in the darkness.
Wow.
that's how close they are to you. And it's like, what else would it be? I know that's not, it's not natural dark,
Right.
because I can do this
Yeah.
right in front of me. There's no light source in front of me and I can see my hands. But if I do this just a little ways away, it gets blacker. Why?
Yeah.
You know, there's no explanation for it. But yeah, it's creepy.
That's awesome. That is pretty creepy. So now that you mentioned that figure, this is during exploring with Josh and Seth Borden's investigation. Here's a little clip for you.
Look at Seth's arm on the chair, and we see this black shadow in back of him. Then what it does is it flies up closer to us by the camera, bounces off of the mic, and goes off. Now you can see right through it. You can see everything, and you can see it clearly come through the back of Seth. Comes from his arm, back of his arm, and then comes out. Now the craziest part that I'm going to show you guys is the video. Listen.
We're here. Very good.
Hits the mic and bounces off. I don't know what to even say.
I'm back.
So was that Josh explaining what was going on, or was that Seth?
No, that was actually Tyler. They went
Okay.
there with Grit Paranormal.
Okay.
But yeah, they piggybacked with them, and that's something that they had caught up in the middle bedroom.
Wow. That's awesome.
You can actually hear it hit the mic.
Yeah. Have you had anything like that where like you hear the shadow bounce off something?
No, I couldn't explain that one.
No.
I was like,
okay.
Everybody's like, oh, it's a bat. I'm like, oh, it's a bat. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
well, that's what she said
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
when
did you?
like, yeah, exactly.
It looks
It's
like
like
a
word
bat
for
when you
word.
think of
That's
it.
exactly what she said.
It does. I
It
will
does.
admit it does look
When,
like
when
bat,
it came
but
up and lifted his wings up or whatever it is, it did look like a shadow of a bat.
Yeah, but it was see through.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
and it comes up behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
they
it's
don't
like-
notice it.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. So for everybody that's watching, we have a question of the week.
It's a good
Da,
question.
da, da. Question
And
of the week.
I actually know the answer to it for once.
Out of a whole 11 episodes,
Yeah.
it's the only one that she knows.
The one that I know the answer to, and I didn't even know it before.
All right. So we're going to play this video for you, Corey, or anybody in the comments. And then once the video's done,
Everyone is free to answer.
everybody answer for us.
If you know it.
And this is it. All right. Question of the week.
Do you know the
Everybody
answer?
in the comments, if you know the answer to this question,
Go ahead and put
read it
down.
in the comments. Corey, do you know the answer to this question?
Not even. I honestly no. I can
No?
ask Siri.
All right. Siri is amazing. Let's see what they say in the comments. Good luck.
Good luck.
Or just luck,
Luck.
I think. Amber told me good luck. It is.
It is good luck.
When they were using the Ouija
Ouija
board
board.
in the very first test of the Ouija board, it came back as good luck. They asked the other thing about a Ouija that they did when they were using the board, they asked the board what they should name that board, and the spirits told them Ouija. Little fact of the week. I didn't know if you knew that,
It named
Corey, or not.
itself. It named itself.
It named itself.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of random letters.
Right. Yeah. Which is funny because I have a planchette Ouija
Planchette?
on
Oh,
my
that's
hand.
badass.
My backpack's a Ouija
Yeah.
board.
I just thought we would throw that in there because you have the Ouija boards in the seance room.
I like that.
Are
that
those used Ouija boards, or are they kind of just for show?
They're used. We allow investigators to use them as long as they're comfortable using them.
Right.
Like what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
everybody has to understand. Like anytime you open up lines of communication,
Right.
with the dead, you're still messing with it. So it's
Right.
like as long as you're responsible, you open and close your sessions properly. There's no reason,
Right.
to be scared of something.
Right.
You just got to remain in control.
Yeah.
So,
Now, when you get invested and you get a team in and they leave everything, do you guys bless the house and ground it again so you guys can live there, or do you kind of just let it die off by itself?
we don't bless the house. We don't
Right.
cleanse the house or anything like that. There's nothing in my time living there. There was nothing negative. Did it scare us? Yes, but we're not psychics. We don't see
Right.
them coming.
Right. So there
you
was
know, there
nothing malevolent, nothing creepy.
No.
Well, creepy, yes, but nothing evil or
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
like the movies said.
No,
There's no crazy witch trying to kill you guys. Or
No.
Do you think it's settled down since the parents owned it?
I honestly think so. I believe hauntings are based off of family dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
and if you read Andrea's books, they're very, very upfront about their family dynamic, and there was a lot of infighting and stuff like that. So whatever was there was being fed all that hate and discontent,
Right.
That the family was feeding it, and it just gave it in return.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's one thing that I watched. There was I watched an interview with Andrea, and they said that they were kind of drawn to the house even before they knew what the house was.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys have that feeling before you bought the house? Like, were you like more drawn to it, not just because of the history and everything, and oh my God, it's the Conjuring House. Like, do you guys feel like you were drawn to that property?
I know Jen talks about it, that she really was.
Okay.
Me, I'm not. I mean, I was just more focused on the history of the house.
Got ya.
But Jen most definitely, like, I know when we walked onto the property, she was just like, "Oh my God, like, I love this place."
Yeah.
And it was just like, she says it was like calling to her.
Got ya.
But me, I was more focused on like the whole story and stuff like that. So
Right. Now, when you guys were living there temporarily, and you guys said you have a house in Maine,
Mhm.
where you said that you were more drawn to the house after you guys moved in, kind of like, hey, come back, we want you guys here type of thing, or you guys were more sucked into the house?
it was more like you couldn't spend time away from the house. And
Okay.
I don't know if it was more of a like worried about trespassers, or because honestly, the ghosts aren't what you need to be afraid of. It's
Right.
the real life people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it got out of hand. And
You guys had a lot of problems with violators or people trying to break in, or
not break in.
No.
Luckily but people just feel entitled, show up at the door at 2:00 in the morning asking for tours.
wow.
What the hell?
Yeah, no, I know. And,
That's
we were
really rude.
Yeah.
But it's like, look, man, I'm like, we're opening this up to the public, and it's like, but they want it their way right away, and it's like, it's not Burger King, dude. It doesn't
Yeah.
work that way.
Yeah.
It's like stand in line like everybody else. It's
Right.
you'll be able to get in here. I'm telling you.
If you do it the proper way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people that did it the proper way, they had no problems with it. And,
Right. Yeah, it's one thing that we try to promote and everything. Like,
Do it professionally.
if you do it professionally and you do it the right way and you follow the right procedures, the owners are a lot more willing to work with you other than you trying to show up at 2 a.m. Like, I don't care who you are, where you are. It could be a normal house. You show up at my house at 2 a.m, I'm going to be very upset.
Yeah. Like, don't be waking
And, like,
me up.
So do you have that problem a lot, or?
yes,
Wow.
that was one of that was probably the biggest reason we sold it.
Yeah. Wow.
Because it just it got out of hand. So
Carrie asks, has there been any further
Confirmation
of bodies in the yard?
we had she's probably talking about exploring with Josh's video.
Okay.
That was the most confirmation that we have. The gentleman that did the ground penetrating radar for us, he did a linear and lateral sweep of the area that we were focusing on.
Right.
And he was able to, like, he said, nothing in life is 100%. He's like, but he could tell us with 99% certainty that what we were looking at were 5 grave shafts.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, who they are, what they are, no idea.
Right.
And obviously, we're not going to know because that's where they're going to stay.
3 years ago, probably gone and filtered the earth somehow.
Yeah.
But is that, I wonder, because the whole Cindy with there's 5 soldiers buried in, like,
7 dead soldiers,
7 dead soldiers in the walls. I wonder if that's what that was coming as, is like maybe spirits or like bodies buried in the yard other than the walls. I don't know.
Well, it's actually located right next to the rock wall.
Oh wow.
Because that's one of the reasons we actually got into looking in the yard, was because Roger, when Roger visited the property after we bought it, we were talking about that, and he said, besides the walls in the house, he's like, he was more worried about, like, consoling his kid that was scared. And he's like, but now if I think about it, he's like, you got a rock wall that surrounds the house. He's like, you got a wall on the backside of the house, a retaining wall. All these places that you could possibly hide or bury bodies. And that's why we did it the first time. And we ended up locating an area that was of interest. And, it was like 10 feet in length, like 8 feet wide, 6 feet deep. And as soon as they told us it was, and all they could tell us was the ground had been disturbed. That's it. But when they said it had been disturbed down to the 6 foot mark, and it's like, well, what's
That's
typically 6 feet deep, So,
absolutely. Now, do you think, was that from one of the original families? Because this is back in like 1700s. They didn't really have cemeteries or graveyards or anything back then. So they would just bury them on the property of whatever land they owned. Do you think that's what's haunting this house?
Now, when Ghost Adventures came, we actually took the censuses as far back as they had them. And we actually went down to the Arnold family plot. The Arnold family was actually the first ones to live there in 1680. And they're all accounted for in the census.
Wow.
So, and they lived there up until, like, I want to say the early 1900s. So if they're all accounted for, there's
who's buried.
Yeah, who was buried there.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's who's haunting the house. I think who's haunting the house is actually based off the land itself.
Oh.
There was a war that was fought in Rhode Island,
Right.
in parts of Connecticut and Massachusetts. It was called the King Philip's War, and it was fought from 1675, 1677.
Right.
And per capita, more people died in that war than all wars fought on U.S. soil.
Wow.
It was bloody, and I think a lot of reasons people don't talk about it was because we weren't a country at the time.
Right.
And number two, most of the victims, most of the deaths were women and children.
Wow.
Because it was Native Americans versus the colonists.
Oh,
The colonists want to go toe to toe, and the
Right.
Native Americans, they were doing guerrilla warfare. They take a shot, they run off.
Yeah.
Colonists were like, screw this, and they just would roll into a village, kill the entire village.
Wow.
And it saturated the ground. It stigmatized the ground.
Right. Right.
Kind of like Gettysburg. But the only reason we came up with that theory was because our neighbors, once they found out that we weren't a circus sideshow doing what we do,
Right.
they started reaching out to us, asking questions, because they had things going on in their houses.
Oh,
So
wow.
it just leads us to believe it's actually the land.
area.
So
Wow. Now, is that the only neighbor that came forth and said that their house is haunted too, or is there more houses in that area?
we had 3 neighbors actually reach out to us.
Wow. That's crazy. So, yeah, I actually never heard about that war. That's pretty cool history.
Yep.
The things they don't tell you in school.
Yeah.
Usually only people from Rhode Island that go to school in Rhode Island, they're the only ones that learn about that war.
Yeah. No, down in the South here, we don't know about that one. But
We have a couple more things to share.
we do have a couple more things to share. What do we have to share, Sarah?
Oh, what do we have? We have that bottom one right there.
Oh.
That one.
No, we played that while you were in the bathroom.
Oh, was that? Oh, well, never mind.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. It's
Do you
okay,
guys
I'll
want to
say-
see this video again to make Sarah happy?
No,
we could play
no,
it for you
I
again.
can watch it later. I'm sure.
I don't want to
I'm
take
sure
up
he's gonna
Corey's.
make me watch it again.
Oh, I will.
No, this is like straight up. Like after this is done, he's gonna go into the living room, put it on the living room TV.
I like watching my own videos. Shoot me. But before we go and before we call it a night, do you have anything to promote with the house or any events coming
Anything
or
personal, like
Paracons
that you're
or
doing?
I know this upcoming weekend, we got a huge Ocean State Paracon, actually in Harrisville, Rhode Island.
Wow.
So
You should do a live stream at the house.
we're actually we're gonna watch The Conjuring with Andrea Perrin, and then we're
That's
gonna go
awesome.
investigate the house.
That's awesome. We're kind of doing the same thing
Jealous.
down here in Florida.
Yep.
So my friend Henry owns a jail from the 1800s. It's called the Gilchrist County Jail, and they're doing the Ghoulfest Para-Unity Convention. And it's going to be a bunch of investigators from around the country coming to hang out at the jail. And after the convention's over, all the groups that are part of the convention are going to go investigate the jail.
And we're part of the convention.
And yeah, we were Underworld's part of the convention this
come
year.
see us. Come see us.
Before we go, we have another video if you want to watch it, Corey. It's just a promotion from the Gilchrist for
Just
the
trying
convention.
to get it out there.
Here's the video before we let you go.
What do you think?
Wow. You guys are going to be busy.
So,
Yeah. That's why we had to take a week off to get ready for this.
So, all these videos that I make, the background, all the Conjuring House, I make personally. Yeah. So every week to week, videos, we try to bring you the breast footage that we can. The breast footage. The breast. High school again. High school.
All right.
We went to public school, all right. Yeah. But I want the best footage. I want to greatly appreciate you coming to hang out with us, Corey. It was a great talking to you about learning about the house and your experiences.
We're definitely going to try to have you on again, either this season or next.
I appreciate it very much, guys. Thank you.
We appreciate your time.
Yeah. So if you have any footage you want to send over, and keep in touch. We love hanging out with you, and now you guys are part of the Underworld family.
Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
No problem. You have a great night, sir.
Thank you so much for your time. We hope you have a great rest of your night, and good luck with your next investigation of the house.
Appreciate it.
All right. Have a great night.
You too. See you guys.
See ya. What do you think?
Season 1 is done. And Season 2 has started. Season 2.
What do you guys think?
First episode for Season 2.
Badass video.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Carrie. If you haven't watched, we have a video or interview with Carrie also.
Yes.
But Season 2.
Season 2, we're here.
We've been so busy. We have so much to show you this season.
We're actually going to be coming to you.
Not yet.
No. We're going to be going live every week until October, the week of our convention. We're going to be having our lives every Wednesday until that week. And then we'll take a week off.
I love you so much, Kelly. Thank you so much for watching, and I miss you so much.
We're going to take a week off in October to finish up Season 2, to do our convention. Oh.
The first episode of the season is definitely off to a great start. Thank you,
guys.
You guys really love us, man. You guys really love us.
But in the next week or two, we have some really, really good stuff coming for you guys. And I'm excited because my birthday week is coming up and we have some stuff planned.
Should we tell them what's for your birthday?
I don't think we should tell them what's for our birthday. I think they should wait and see.
All right.
You know what? That's my birthday surprise for you guys. I have a birthday surprise for you guys. Stay tuned.
Remember, guys, always stay creepy.
We'll see you next week.
Later.